Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. Going to be giving you my predicted 11 for Manchester United's game against Brighton at Old Trafford. So I'm going to go with the 4-2-3-1 formation. In goal, David De Gea. David De Gea did very well against Southampton recently. He made some very good saves to deny Armando Broja. He made a good save to deny Romain Perraud, and he also denied Stuart Armstrong. De Gea is enduring a very good season. He's now back to his best. Don't forget, he did get named the Premier League's Player of the Month for January. He became the first goalkeeper to win the award in 6 years. Right back, I'm going to go with Diego Dalot. Diego Dalot did quite well against Southampton, but he was caught out of position for Southampton's equaliser. Dalot's been impressive under Rangnick. He's our first choice right back under Rangnick. The two centre backs, I'm going to go with Raphael Varane and Victor Lindelof. Varane weren't that good against Southampton recently. I thought Varane played very well against Burnley last Tuesday night. Defensively he was good. Unfortunately, he had a goal disallowed, but Harry Maguire was the culprit for Varane's disallowed goal against Burnley. Varane did well in the Cup against Middlesbrough. He did well against West Ham before the international break, and he did well in the 3-1 win against Brentford. Victor Lindelof, I think he'll come in for Harry Maguire. Harry Maguire needs to be dropped. Victor Lindelof hasn't played for a while. Well, at one point he was out due to personal reasons. Don't forget, at one point he got his house robbed. Left back, I'm going to go with Alex Telles. I think he'll come in for Luke Shaw. Telles has missed the last few games. Not so long ago he had COVID, but he's now recovered from COVID. Telles has impressed me under Rangnick. Telles has appeared to be our first choice left back under Rangnick. Now the two centre midfielders, I'm going to go with Paul Pogba and Scott McTominay. Pogba's been very impressive since he recovered from injury. Pogba did well in the 1-1 draw against Southampton. He had a goal disallowed by VAR. Was it for offside? He did very well against Burnley last Tuesday at Turf Moor. He scored in that game. That was his first goal of the season, and that was his first Premier League appearance since October. And he did very well on his return in the Cup against Middlesbrough. If you do remember rightly, Pogba won the penalty in normal time against Middlesbrough. Like I updated you yesterday, it said Paul Pogba is open to staying at Man United beyond the end of his contract. Pogba's contract at Manchester United expires in the summer. Earlier on this season, it said that Pogba is willing to stay at Man United as long as Ralf Rangnick is the manager for next season, because it did say that Pogba was impressed by Ralf Rangnick since his arrival. Scott McTominay, he's been out of form recently, but I do reckon he will start this game. I don't think McTominay is good enough to represent the club. He weren't that good against Southampton recently. And I said, didn't I, earlier on this season, that McTominay has been one of our best performers under Rangnick? Because he has had good games under Rangnick. The attacking midfielder, I'm going to go with Bruno Fernandes. To be fair, Bruno Fernandes has picked up form recently. Fernandes played against Southampton. Did well. He played well against Burnley last Tuesday. You know, his passing was good, his vision was good, his movement was good, he got into good positions. And don't forget, Varane's disallowed goal came from the set piece from Bruno Fernandes. Fernandes had chances in the cup game against Middlesbrough. The best chance he had in that one was when he hit the post. I don't know how he missed it, because technically it was an open goal. And I thought Fernandes did well in the games against Brentford and Aston Villa away in the league earlier on in the season, because against Brentford he provided 2 assists and he scored both of Man United's goals in the 2-2 draw against Villa. So yeah, him as the attacking midfielder. On the left wing, I'm going to go with Marcus Rashford. To Rashford's credit, he's picked up form recently. Rashford did well in the first half against Southampton. You know, he got into good positions, he got some good runs in behind, and he got the assist for Jaden Sancho's goal. It was a lovely ball by Marcus Rashford to pick out Jaden Sancho in the 6-yard box. He was quite good against Burnley as well at Turf Moor. Josh Brownhill's own goal came from that Marcus Rashford cross. He had a good early chance as well against Burnley. But his decision making at times against Burnley at Turf Moor was poor. In the cup game against Middlesbrough, Rashford had some chances. He had a goal disallowed in that game. He scored the winner against West Ham before the international break. He came off the bench. He also came off the bench and scored in the 3-1 win against Brentford. That did end Rashford's 3-month goal drought. He had a minor leg injury earlier on this season, Rashford, and don't forget he missed the first 2 months of this season with that shoulder problem, and a lot of United fans have said, including me, that he hasn't been the same player since he had that operation on his shoulder. On the right wing, I'm going to go with Jaden Sancho. Now, Jaden Sancho starting to become very good now. Sancho was very good against Southampton. You know, he scored Manchester United's goal. He was very good against Burnley at Turf Moor last Tuesday. You know, every time he had the ball he looked dangerous and he got into some good positions. He was very good against Middlesbrough in the Cup. He scored in that game. That was Jaden Sancho's first Old Trafford goal, and it was of course on his FA Cup debut. there's other games as well he's played well in. I thought he played well in the game against Burnley at Old Trafford in the final game of last year, but unfortunately had a goal denied. And he did well in the games against Chelsea and Villarreal away earlier on in the season because he scored in both of them games as well. The striker, I'm going to go with Edison Cavani. I reckon he'll come in for Cristiano Ronaldo. These United fans that are saying Ronaldo needs to be dropped because Ronaldo has been out of form recently. He hasn't scored in his last 6 games. Ronaldo obviously did play against Southampton. He was alright against Southampton. You know, he had a good early chance, you know, when he went round the Southampton goalkeeper. It was a good clearance though, was it from Romain Perraud? And he had a goal disallowed against Southampton. Edison Cavani obviously missed the game against Southampton due to, was it injury? He played against Burnley at Turf Moor last Tuesday, did Cavani. He had one good chance in the game, but apart from that, Cavani was anonymous. Edison Cavani is expected to leave Man United as a free agent in the summer. He said Cavani prefers a move to La Liga. Cavani's out of contract at Manchester United in the summer. Earlier on this season, Rangnick revealed that Edison Cavani wants to stay at Man United until the end of the season. So that's how I think Manchester United could line up against Brighton. Obviously, we have got some players missing, but not many. Fred is obviously not available. He's obviously been out with COVID. Bai, I think he's still injured. Bai doesn't really get in the team anyway. Matic, he recently picked up a shin injury. Chong, he's injured. And that's about it. And you already know the news on Mason Greenwood. Manchester United are coming into this game against Brighton on the back of a 1-1 draw against Southampton. Man United have drawn their last 3 games 1-1. Drew with Southampton recently, drew with Burnley last Tuesday 1-1, and it was 1-1 against Middlesbrough after extra time in the FA Cup. This game against Brighton got rearranged because Manchester United were supposed to be playing Brighton on the 18th of December last year, but the game got postponed due to COVID. This will be a difficult game against Brighton because Brighton are enduring a very good season to their standards. You know, Brighton recently beat Watford 2-0. The 9th in the Premier League. They've got some very good players, like I mentioned on the preview and that. You know, Brighton have got Neil Maupay, very good attacking player. They've got Yves Bissouma, he's a midfielder. On deadline day last month, Manchester United were interested in signing Yves Bissouma. Leonardo Trossard, he's a winger. He's a good player, is Trossard. Tariq Lamptey, he's a very good right back. Manchester United went in for Tariq Lamptey last month, and at the time it said Manchester United valued Tariq Lamptey at 30 million, but Brighton valued him at £40 million. They have Moises Caicedo. He's been out for Brighton due to personal reasons. Danny Welbeck, he's a forward. Danny Welbeck is a former Manchester United and Arsenal player. If he was to play in this game, then he would be reuniting with Man United. They've got Evan Ferguson, he's a striker. Jeremy Sarmiento, he's out at the moment for Brighton because he's injured. Adam Lallana, he's a midfielder. Adam Lallana is a former Liverpool and Southampton player. They've got Pascal Gross, Solly March, Stephen Alzette, Alexis Mac Allister, he's good. Lewis Dunk, he's a very good centre-back for Brighton. They also have Shane Duffy, Adam Webster, Joel Veltman's good. And the goalkeepers Brighton have got, they have Jason Steele, Robert Sanchez and Thomas McGill. Let me put into the equation that Brighton have lost quite a few players. Last month they lost Daniel Byrne to Newcastle. They lost Ben White. He went to Arsenal from Brighton, but Brighton did receive £50 million for him. Dale Stephens went to Burnley from Brighton. Glenn Murray left Brighton. I can't remember when he left, but he did. Aaron Connolly, he's out on loan at Middlesbrough from Brighton. And they let Matty Ryan go, that goalkeeper. Didn't he go to Arsenal, if I can remember rightly? Brighton's manager, he's Graham Potter. He's been Brighton's manager for almost 3 years now. He's under contract with Brighton until 2025. Before Brighton, he managed Swansea, and before then, he managed Ostersunds. This fixture at Old Trafford last season between Man United and Brighton was 2-1 to Manchester United. But this is a must-win game for Man United if they are to keep the top 4 hopes alive. I think we are, 5th in the Premier League at the moment. A lot of United fans written off the top 4 after the 1-1 draw against Southampton. Ralf Rangnick has been Manchester United's interim manager for over 2 months now. He's managed 13 games so far in all competitions. He's lost 2 games at the moment. I can assure Man United will not offer Rangnick the job on a permanent basis. Rangnick is Man United's interim manager till the end of the season, and it did initially say that he's expected to take up a consultancy role for a further 2 years, but Rangnick's been warned now that he could lose the consultancy role. There's been good performances under Rangnick, there's also been poor performances as well. But like I've said, Rangnick is totally blameless for the poor performances. The players have had to take responsibility for those poor performances. Like I've said, I've got a lot of respect for Rangnick. I think he's a very good coach, and he's a German coach, and the vast majority of German coaches are very good. Don't forget, a long time ago, Rangnick taught Jurgen Klopp, and look how good Jurgen Klopp is now at Liverpool. But, you know, revert back to Rangnick, nothing has changed under Rangnick to what we saw under Solskjaer. Let me put into the equation, none of this squad is Rangnick's. You know, he's inheriting players that other managers have brought in, and we have got a lot of deadwood in, you know, the team. Rangnick has enjoyed one transfer window so far as Man United's interim manager. And Man United enjoyed a very disappointing January transfer window. Because last month, Manchester United did not make any signings. And Man United wanted to sign a midfield because when Rangnick first came in, he identified Manchester United's midfield as a weakness. We should have let Lingard and Henderson leave last month, but we didn't because we blocked their exits. We had the incident with Mason Greenwood towards the end of last month. So there you go. But around 8 players left Manchester United last month. You know, Donny van der Beek went out on loan to Everton. Martial went out on loan to Sevilla. Amad Diallo went out on loan to Rangers. Ethan Laird went out on loan. Axel Tuanzebe went out on loan, was it to Napoli? Tiedemann Mengi went out on loan to Birmingham. So there you go. Rangnick actually got promised he was going to be backed, but unfortunately he didn't get backed. Before Manchester United, Rangnick was the head of sports and development at Lokomotiv Moscow. I've got to give him credit as well because he has made changes since he come in. Earlier on this season. He recommended Ewan Sharp in as an assistant coach and analyst. He also recommended Chris Armas as assistant coach, and he recommended Saz Chalenzin as a sports psychologist. You know, Manchester United's only chance of winning a trophy this season is the Champions League, and I'm very sceptical we're going to win that, so it's going to be another trophyless season for Man United. Man United have not won a trophy since 2017, that's 5 years ago now. Like I've mentioned already, we've only won 4 trophies in 10 years. We haven't won the Premier League since 2013. You know, Manchester United have sacked 4 permanent managers since Ferguson retired. We sacked David Moyes after 10 months. I think we finished 7th under the Moyes era. Then we sacked Louis van Gaal after 2 years, won the FA Cup under him. Then we sacked Jose Mourinho after 2.5 years. He did enjoy one good season at Man United, Mourinho, because he did win 3 trophies in his first season. The 3 trophies he won was the Europa League, the EFL Cup and the Community Shield. But the reasons it didn't work out under Mourinho is because he had bad disputes with the board, because the board didn't recommend the players he wanted to get in. He had bad disputes with the top players. And last year, Manchester United sacked Ole Gunnar Solskjaer after almost 3 years in charge. You know, Man United's next permanent manager, I think, will be either Mauricio Pochettino or Erik ten Hag. The Glazers, they've been one of the biggest issues at the club for a long time. The Glazers are still at Manchester United. The Glazers have owned Manchester United for around 16.5 years. They bought the club for 500 million back in 2005. Revert back to April last year, Man United fans protested against the Glazers at the Carrington training ground and at Old Trafford because the Glazers were planning to scrap the Champions League for that European Super League. But in the end, the Glazers ended up apologising for that. And towards the end of last season, it said the Glazers were only willing to sell Man United, but for only £4 billion. Was it beginning of this month? Ed Woodward stepped down. That was good news from a Man United perspective because Woodward was one of the biggest problems at the club for a long time. You know, Woodward was at Manchester United for 17 years. Richard Arnold obviously replaced Ed Woodward as the new chief executive. Anyway, on my next video, I'll be giving you some more news on Mauricio Pochettino. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel if you do. Consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.